Facebook. The Lulu didn't come up, did it? Stop recording. Favorite players, because you know, we have that shared blue and gray experience, and both of you are from the DMV. So that's I always like to try to get out a shout out. And you know, I just want to welcome you. This has been a passion project for us. I'd like to thank Malcolm Stansbury again, as always, for making this happen. I'd just like to start the show by just, you know, expressing my heartfelt and deep felt sorrow and concerns, and pass that on to any Hoya family members that are experiencing anything during this pandemic. You know, this is obviously a tough and challenging time, and I hope both you brothers are well and your families are well. Also, shout out to Georgetown University celebrating 232 years. And then I'd like to give a happy birthday shout out to a young lady, Tanisha, who handles the graphics for the show. And with that, I want to welcome you guys and thank you for coming through. As I mentioned, you guys are two of my favorites. You both went to St. Anthony's / All Saints / Flint Hill. And you know, I guess the first question is around that, surrounding that, because if you look at all the high schools where Georgetown has recruited from, obviously St. Anthony's has been a beacon. I think there are a total of 13 players. I count you as St. Anthony, Sam, and All Saints. It's a total of about 13, I'm sorry, Kemit, total of 13 players that have come through. So if you guys want to start and touch on that, what was it like, you know, because I guess St. Anthony's All Saints was kind of a Georgetown experience in high school. Did that have any influence over you coming to Georgetown, coming to the Hilltop, or it was just, you know, you had watched Georgetown throughout? What was the impetus to come to the Hilltop?
Okay, well, I'll go first. Quite frankly, Gene, I was a fan pretty much all my life. As a youngster in DC, growing up in the Police Athletic League, playing for Police Boys Club #2, playing for Kemit Boys Club down in Northwest. Coach Thompson was close friends with a lot of the guys that ran those boys clubs. So from the beginning, Mr. Butler and Mr. Wise down at #2, Mr. Webster down in Kemit, those guys were very close with. So most of the good players, the players that showed some promise, they had potential to go to college. I think those guys kind of steered folks toward Georgetown. Unbeknownst to us players, there's probably was a lot of communication going on among those, you know, among those elements, saying, oh, you know, you need to check out this person, you need to check out that person. And when we got to St. Anthony's, I had no idea that Coach Datcher, our coach at St. Anthony's, had any involvement with Georgetown. But obviously he was very close with Coach Thompson too, because he ended up working at Georgetown later on in different capacities. So we got to St. Anthony's. We had a very good team, one of the best teams in the country. So we had a lot of college coaches coming, because we had like 5 or 6 Division I players playing at the same time. But I always remember that Coach Datcher always talked Georgetown. You know, Georgetown. He was kind of hyping Georgetown to us players, and you know, kind of making sure that we understood that, hey, those folks are interested in you. You know, you all can go visit these other colleges, but you need to consider Georgetown. So again, I was a fan, but I was, you know, back in the 70s, playing with the Boys Club League. They used to take us in vans and take us over to Georgetown games to see Baby and Big Sky and them. So I was a fan. I was going to Georgetown. It wasn't really, they didn't have to recruit me. I was going to Georgetown. And once they said they wanted me, I was kind of already on board.
Got it. Kemit?
Yeah, so Mine is totally different than Bobby. Bobby's a year older than me. He was ahead of me. I really just kind of just started playing in ninth grade. I was in DC public school, junior high, or both junior high. And if anything, I wanted to be a professional football player.
I see you repping the football jersey right there.
Oh yeah, that's my Kaepernick. Shout out to Kaepernick.
Shout out to Kaepernick.
I thought that was Haskins. Number 7. The Haskins went number 7.
I was in DC public school, and my life circumstances were such that I would have gone to Coolidge or McKinley, kind of the two schools. Coolidge at that time had a pretty stacked squad. I didn't know at the time they had like David Butler, Wally Lancaster, them cats. I'm sure Bobby and remember them. And somehow, I don't know how, or maybe one of my uncles or something. I had an uncle that worked at the jail. Maybe some kind of connection. He got to St. Anthony's or something, and Datcher or somebody. I don't know how I kind of ended up, because I didn't have the money to pay for Catholic. Catholic school to me was like expensive. So it was like a whole new world. I didn't know what Catholic was. Nothing about no Catholic school. They had people going to mass and kneeling. I didn't know nothing about that stuff. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to St. Anthony's. And it did work out. In fact, a friend of mine down the street went to DeMatha, and I almost went to DeMatha. So I met with Morgan Wooten, and I was going to go to DeMatha, and then it just got snatched away the last time. I had no idea that Morgan Wooten and Coach Thompson hated each other. Well, I don't know if they hated each other, but
it was close. It was close. It was close. It was close. Because rumor has it that before Coach got that gig, Morgan Wooten and George Raveling were the other two finalists.
Oh, okay.
So that runs deep.
Yeah. So obviously, if I had gone to DeMatha, it would have took me a whole different path.
Yeah.
And so I went to St. Anthony's, but I had no clue, like Bobby. I didn't know Dwight Datcher had any connection to Georgetown. I got there at St. Anthony's, and we had a stacked team.
Stacked.
I didn't know what I was doing, but Bobby and them, Bobby, Phil Gamble,
Michael Best.
Michael Best, just a lot of dudes. And they basically, I was just learning the game under them, really, and playing with them. And then we had Coach Aaron Long, and I didn't know Coach Long had any connection to Georgetown. I think he was one of the first recruits ever to go that first recruiting class.
Yeah.
And so, it was all oblivious to me. I was just going to class, learning to play basketball, having fun. And St. Anthony's, the connection there, we, like Bobby said, we were like, number 5, 6 in the nation or something. We undefeated. When you're winning, it's all good, And at St. Anthony's, we ain't lose, And then, of course, I went to Flint Hill. We won the national championship, and we ain't lose. So, it was all good.
What was the reason? Why'd you transfer to Flint? Why'd you pick Flint Hill?
That actually was Coach Thompson. I think he was looking for a school for his son Ronnie to go to, and I was going to. Bobby and Smitty were in the class ahead of me at St. Anthony's, and both of them announced that they were going to Georgetown, I guess, and academically, I could have gone. They were going to have me go to Georgetown in red shirt with Bobby and them, but the opportunity came up. I guess when he found Flint Hill for Ronnie, he's like, "Well, you should go to Flint Hill." And I met with the coach, and that worked out. So that had another year of high school, and that was just good for my maturity. It was good for basketball maturity, but it was good for my development as a person as well. And I continued to thrive, and it was probably one of my best basketball experiences at Flint Hill. It was just great.
If I can ask both of you, stacked squad at St. Anthony's. And this is, we all have our points of view. Best player to come out of St. Anthony's.
Michael Best.
Yeah.
Michael Best
for myself. I'm gonna go with Michael Best.
Michael Best was the most talented, one of the most talented players that ever came out of DC. And I'm not telling you, I witnessed it, Gene. I saw it.
You saw it
close, every day. Offensively, could do it all.
Right.
Mike had some challenges, some personal issues. So a lot of times he was suspended, or he was missing games because he was being disciplined in high school.
Sound like he would have fit into Georgetown.
But Gene, when he played, if Mike played, our team was good. Without Mike, with Mike, we were hard to beat. I would have put us up against any team in the country. He was just that good.
Right.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Michael Best. The only other player to come out of Sea Pleasant, Maryland, close to him is Kevin Durant.
Wow. That's
in junior high, 40 a game easily. Wow. And this was in the public. You come from public school, so junior high.
I know what it was.
those are good players.
Yes, sir.
40 points easily. I mean, this unbelievable. But so in my opinion, Mike Best.
Man, I'm going to digress. I'm really excited to have you two, because I think if we had a all underrated team at Georgetown, the three of us would be on it. And I just, I've been doing a little film work on you both. So somewhere throughout the discussion, I'll maybe dive into a couple games just to get your personal input and maybe jog your memory a little bit, because I'm sure you two aren't watching films of old games. But I want to obviously get to the Hilltop. You both had extremely successful careers on the Hilltop, from a win-loss, the teams that you were on. Kemit, your crews were like 102 games, lost 28. And Bobby, I'm sorry, that was your record, Bobby. Your team, Kemit, was 102 and like 24. So you were on some successful teams, 2 Big East championships, 2 regular season championships, 2 Elite Eights. So I'm looking at, royalty here in terms of success on the court. But getting on that campus, what was the most challenging things for you that freshman year, once you got to the Hilltop?
For me, I think it was the commitment to basketball, the demands. Because high school, you go to practice maybe an hour or 2 a day, and it's you just at Georgetown, and Division I probably across the nation, but I'm just going by my Georgetown experience, but I'm sure it's the same at big time college basketball all across the nation. The demands on your time and the energy and effort that you expect to put into it, that's challenging for a freshman, because most folks have never experienced that. The 3 hours a day, the hour to get ready to go down there, the hour after dinner. So that's 5-6 hours of your day already. So trying to fit that into your social and your academic requirements is very difficult.
Yeah, I think, well, for me, a lot of stories come up, but one of them, this is one Bobby don't even remember. I'm pretty sure he don't remember it. When I came to Georgetown, the way I went to college, I just didn't know no better. So I came to Georgetown, I had a duffel bag from an all-star basketball game that I had, 1 duffel bag, 1 blanket with Georgetown Hoyas on it.
Your lucky blanket?
and I caught the G2 bus. And if the move on day was like, I don't know, August 10th, on August 9th, I caught the G2 bus to Georgetown with my 1 duffel bag, got off the bus, walked to Bobby. I think Bobby and Smitty was staying in the same, I don't know, Village A or somewhere. And the night before, and that's where I spent the night with them in that room. And then I went to New South, because New South was the dorm.
Where the freshmen.
Yeah, and so I went to New South, put my stuff down, and I saw all these people pulling up with cars and mattresses and big, all the stuff people bring to college, refrigerators, and they unpacking. And I'm looking at my little duffel bag like,
am I in the right place?
Where am I at? What's going on? I just had a total different experience. It's a different world with Georgetown like that, coming from so that's a little lighthearted adjustment to the culture. And I think also on a more serious note, my freshman year, of course, I'm confident, excited. Everything's new. You know, we're playing. I'm trying to prove myself, and I got an eye infection, but it wasn't like pink eye. It was a real serious eye infection. And I remember before the regular season was over, it was started going on. And I went to the eye doctor at Georgetown Hospital. They took me, to the eye doctor for it. And he looked at me and told me I was gonna go blind in one of my eyes. And so right there, I was like, well, dang, I didn't know what I was gonna do because my
You was gonna get back on the G2.
yeah. But I didn't have nowhere to go. Go back to Northeast DC. It was like nowhere to go,
Wow.
It was really like, I'm getting ready to, there's nothing we can do for you. Either your eyes 50-50 shot, either your vision gonna come back or it's not. We're sorry, the infection's too far gone. There's nothing we can do. Even the antibiotics won't help. And I just pulled through and I kept my vision and stayed on the team, but I didn't know how I was gonna make it my freshman year. So yeah, so that's just some of the challenges,
Right.
going to starting college, start basketball career,
Wow. That's incredible. I'm glad you pulled through. That's
too.
wow. Going to on the court. I look at Bobby. I'm going to start with you, Bobby. And you reminded me of two cats I played with. You reminded me of Eric Smith and Fred Brown, the combination. You could play three positions. You didn't have to score to impact the game. Big time, you could hit a bucket when they needed a bucket. Your sophomore year, which was the Reggie and the Miracles year, you led the team in assists. What was the transition like playing once you got to Georgetown?
It was first of all, it was difficult as freshman because I played very little.
Mm-hmm.
But going in, I didn't expect to play that much. I mean, I knew when I got there, Michael Jackson and David Wingate and Broadnecks were seniors. So I felt that would be a good fit. I would get in and kind of learn. I didn't have any high expectations of playing. But when I played my sophomore year, I pretty much played the same game, Gene. I was never that big of a scorer, even in high school. We had to the earlier point, we had a stacked team of scorers, and I was fine with running the team and distributing the ball. That's kind of what I preferred. I was never a person that needed to score points to feel that I was contributing to the team. So I kind of figured out what Coach Thompson wanted me to do and how I could stay on the floor, and I just did it, Gene. Whatever I could do that made him happy, when he would put me in the game, that's what I figured I was going to do it. So
I figured that out too. That was my moves too. Same
I
move.
wasn't trying to show him anything else. If he said, "This is how you want to stay on the floor, I need you to set the team up. I need you to play some defense, get some assists, steals." I wasn't going out there shooting the ball because that wasn't going to let me stay on the floor. So I just try to figure out, again, how could I help? How could I contribute? And what I could do to kind of get some playing time, because that's all of us wanted to be on the floor. So it didn't. I wasn't trying to play outside of that game. I thought that sometimes I could do more, but that wasn't gonna get me on the floor. So I just did what I needed to do to stay on the floor, Gene.
Before I go to Kemit, though, let me ask you: did you try to do more in the summertime, like
yes.
in the Kemit League?
Yeah, in the Kennedy League, I looked like I was a scorer. I was all world in the Kennedy League.
The only reason I say that, because I tried that in the Kennedy League. I tried to do some things I wasn't doing during the regular season. Right. How you get cursed out in the summertime?
But even in the Reggie and the Miracles year, Coach Riley, our assistant coach, told me, Bobby, if you want to stay in the game, here's what I advise you to do: get the ball to Reggie.
That's easy. Well, hey, Bobby, I figured that out as a senior. And Reggie was a freshman.
Right. So, hey, so every time I came down the floor, I was looking for number 34.
Yes,
So I
sir.
knew that, hey, if I got some assists from him, I was going to stay in the game.
Kemit, you came to big man's you. Merlin Wilson, big time St. Anthony's player, was like it goes all the way back to then, one of the first recruits. Did you feel any did that matter to you, or was again what you've alluded to earlier, you were just trying to get in where you fit in?
Yeah, I really didn't know the history like that. I heard Bobby mention to me in my mind, there's this dude named Big Sky. I don't know what he looked like. I don't know who he is, but everybody hear about Big Sky, at Georgetown or Merlin Wilson. I just
He was only 6'6". He wasn't really Big Sky.
Hey, Gene, to your point, I saw him one day. I was taller than he was. I was like that. I used to call him Big Sky. I'm bigger than he is.
So yeah, I was, I just was trying to, I was flying high, man. I just wanted the high school national championship, undefeated. I knew I could play at that point. It wasn't like when I first started with Bobby at St. Anthony's, because, they had kind of taken me under the wing. But at that point, it was me and Dennis Scott, and we was carrying the team, And I just knew I could play. And I was just trying to show that, and I never figured out, unlike Bobby, I ain't figured out what he wanted, how to play. I ain't know none of that. I ain't played, I played way less than Bobby. None of that. None of that.
You ain't figured out, Kemit.
I still ain't figured out.
Sir, you still trying to figure it out?
I don't know to this day.
What do you want?
So I was like, man, he had, as far, I was trying everything without, it's to me, we had such deep teams at Georgetown, because every 4 years, it's a different flavor.
Somebody coming in.
So
he would tell you before they got there. Like you needed to hear that.
but our teams, when I was there, they were stacked. I mean, like you said, we won 120. We knew going to the NCAAs, we expected to win the Final Four championship every year. I believed in my teammates. We believed we had the talent every year. So Coach Thompson could pick and choose who he gonna put in. You played on one of them teams, Gene. I mean, your team, you was there. Yeah. You cut the team in half, and you can make the NCAA half of the squad. That's the kind of talent we had. So Coach Thompson had the luxury to give playing time to whoever he wanted to give it to, and that's.
Let me ask, just piggybacking on that, just running with that. Like Bobby, I found my niche. Just foul everybody, right? Just go in there and foul everybody. But the practices, I figured out, like, if I just, because, when you're really good, you have a tendency to be a little sexy in practice. Kemit, I was playing like it was a national championship. So that's how I figured out how to get my playing time. Were the practices all out battles, or was it, pretty much, because he always focused on the second team, the white team. Like the white team had free reign. I'm sorry, he focused on the blue team. The white team had free reign. So, we knew the plays and we could cheat. And he chastised the blue team. Did you guys have similar scenarios where the battles in practice? What were practices like?
They were, the time I was there, they were battles, because we challenged each other and we talked trash to each other. And we just tried to stay. As far as Coach Thompson, the practices were the worst. During the games, you could kind of avoid.
The games were fun.
That was fun. You could avoid some of the rap, but during practice, oh man, so we just tried to do whatever we could.
He's speechless. He's speechless. He's thinking about them lines right now.
We tried to do whatever we could not to come under his observation. We didn't want any attention on us. So we tried to do whatever we could in practice. So I think we even played a little harder probably in practice. Just to try to say, I hope this dude don't get around and getting on me.
I was happy not to ever be on the blue team. I'm just telling you. I didn't want, when he said, G, take the blue, I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Do that blue team.
Yeah, the practices were hard, and there were battles and all that. I just, like I agree with Bobby, man. I hated practice in the sense of the games were, well, practice was just a whole nother, because it's the mental fatigue, it's just a lot of stuff going on you got to deal with. For me, it's different because they would separate the guards from the big men. And so over the course of my career, I started off, I'm with the big men. So I got like Jonathan, 290, 6'9", 290, Ronnie Highsmith, 30 years old, grown man. I got these big dudes, and my game ain't like that. I'm speed, I'm quickness. I was light.
You sexy, Kemit. I'm just saying, I watch you play. You nice with it.
And then it just goes from there. It gets worse. Then I got a 7'2" African getting off the plane.
That he told you was 5'11".
And then so I would have to do that with the big men, and then I had to go play with the threes and the swing and the transition. So I do all that stuff too. So practice was always harder for me in the sense of, I had to bang, but then I had to work on my dribbling, work on guard type skills. And so it was what it was in that regard. And although Bobby had it easier because, like he said, when the game came, he played. When the game came, I ain't played. It still wasn't easy.
I can't win.
You can't win.
Well, I love Markham Stansbury, and I'm sure he's looking at me. Don't say anything about me, Gene, because he always gives me specific instructions. Don't bring up my name. Well, I'm bringing up your name. Please give me a Markham Stansbury story. Please, if you got one. Even if you got to make one up.
Stansbury.
I have one, but it cannot be repeated. So I'll let Bobby come up with it.
I don't know if I have any Stansbury stories.
Well, you know what? That says everything. That says everything right there. Well, just if it comes up, just feel free to interrupt me because I always like a good Stansbury story. Kemit, I do want to get ahead a little bit because post Georgetown, even though you didn't figure it out, for a brief period, it looked like you were going to make the Wizards, or was it the Bullets? Was it the Bullets at the time?
It was the Bullets at the time.
It looked like you were there. You were putting in work. What was that experience like? Is it something that you didn't expect?
Let me just back up and say, I was, my best memories of basketball during that time really do kind of come from setting that was outside of Georgetown. Kennel League, of course, was fun. We talked about that. That is what it is. But for me, it was a freeing time. And but then I made the All-Star team on the Big East. So I traveled with that squad. And I remember when I would go play cats, and when I was with that Big East squad, we was practicing and I was playing. And it were like I remember how much fun basketball, and I was playing great. And those guys were looking at me like, I thought you were sorry. That's how they look at me like, what are you doing? I didn't know you could play like that. And I remember John Turner came up when he came to the squad. Me and John Turner were playing one-on-one. And I played with John Turner, Anthony Tucker, and two other cats, Felix and Clinton, on an AAU team. And it was just a great time. And so me and John Turner always been cool and tight. That's my man. And so John, we playing one-on-one in the gym, and I'm of course killing John Turner, just killing him. And so he says to me, he's like, Sam, why don't you play like you used to play in high school? Why don't you play like this in the game? And I just looked at him because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say. He was like, man, don't stay here and be a practice dummy, man. You know, he was trying to help me, man. JT always tried to help me. So, you know, I appreciate that. Shout out to him. But the point is, when I look back and I saw myself playing on video at Georgetown, when I see a game or like Princeton or something, when I did get in the game or something I do, I'm watching those games and I'm like, you can just see my uncomfortableness. I'm like, I'm doing stuff. I've just never really got the groove. You know, it's like, yeah, basketball wise, I definitely could have had a much better career somewhere else. But the point is, I was really good by the time I finished at Georgetown.
Mm-hmm.
I could really play. Nobody would believe it from my stats.
Right.
You know,
Well,
whatever, you know.
I'm just going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I watched the North Carolina game, and I had always heard, there's always rumblings because, you know, the Georgetown fraternity, we do talk. So your name always pops up as, man, y'all don't know, this dude could really ball. And then, you know, the Bullets situation, but in that North Carolina game, you was balling, dog.
Well, I went to, when I went to the Bullets camp, that was the thing. I got there and I had great practices, man. I was there. Jaren Jackson was there when I was there. And, you know, I was just killing them. I was just loving basketball. I was like, yeah, of course I could play. And they looking at me like, who are you not supposed to be this? You're supposed to be, you know, whatever. And so guys just kept getting cut and I kept playing great. There was one practice when I played horrible. You want to guess what happened? Let me tell you. There was one practice where I played horrible, and that's when Coach Thompson came to the Wizards training camp. And he walked in the gym during practice, and my whole game went back to like it was at Georgetown. It was like poof. Oh, shit.
Did he curse you out, Sam?
I was like, please, man. I know maybe he was trying to support me, but just let me go. Man. God, let me go. Let me try to make this. You know, the thing that got me through Georgetown was really like, I knew I was gonna get one shot at the league. I said, when I graduate, I might not get drafted, but if anybody one shot at the league, I can make it. I know I could, because you know, you gotta think, I'm playing against Alonzo Mourning, Kemit. Yeah. Everybody in the NBA ain't Alonzo and Kemit. There's a lot of dudes in the NBA that ain't as good as them. Okay? There's a spot. I knew it, so I wasn't gonna be intimidated by that kind of thing. You know, even in the summertime, you know, Patrick was always generous with trying to help players and play with us and stuff. So I knew I'd seen elite level talent. And, you know, on a business level, I just didn't know. The Bullets basketball is a business, obviously at the NBA level, even at the college level. But when I went to the Bullets camp, they already had 15 dudes with guaranteed contracts. So that meant in order for me to make the squad, I had to beat out everybody, then cut somebody, pay that person a guaranteed contract, and pay me. And from a business decision,
that wasn't happening.
That wasn't going to happen.
That wasn't happening.
So, you know, I did the best I could do, and then I had to make that transition. So maybe we can talk about that transition that every player has to make when it's done. I don't care how good you are, you're gonna stop basketball at some point. You know?
And I definitely want to talk about that transition. I just want to let you both know I'm loving this. We're 45 minutes in. I usually let people let people out of detention after an hour. But if you guys will still kick it, I love it. I got to be honest with you. I didn't know Kemit was this engaging. I'm loving this. but I do want to talk about some of your achievements while you were at Georgetown that happened off the court. Kemit, you were 1990 Raymond Medley Student Athlete of the Year, which is something you probably forgot. And Bobby, you got the Outstanding Team Contribution in 1989, which I'm sure you probably forgot. And that award is no longer in existence. So you retired that award. Did you guys feel like you were role models or leaders while you were there off the court? Was it a seniority thing? Do you felt you made contributions to the program off the court by being model citizens? Is that something that you thought about or you can reflect back on now?
I don't even think about it when I was there, Gene, but I did try to because even Coach, he talked about being a model citizen on campus. Don't be up there acting a damn fool. And he phrased it in his own terms. What he was trying to say is act like you got some sense. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass the athletic department. Take pride in what you do. Be accountable for your conduct. Be a good student, be a good citizen, and that came from my background. My grandparents who raised me, taught me the same thing. So I try to treat people with respect. I try to respect all the players. I think all the players respected me. And I had a way of whether I could talk to the guys, and I wasn't a real rah-rah guy, but in my role, I was able to talk guys to doing what I thought was right, or doing what I thought coach wanted them to do. And as I got to be a senior, more the folks really listened to me, and I think I deserved the award. I mean, I hadn't thought about it, but I did do a lot of things on and off the court to help the team. And I don't know if Sam remember this, but Gene, I drove the damn team bus on the road. I drove one of the vans, Gene.
When you play all 5 positions, I guess they expect you to drive too.
Hey, Gene, I was driving the team van, so I think I deserve the damn award.
That's dependable. That's dependable right there.
And you know who won with me?
Who?
Coach Carlson. Awesome.
Talk about pressure. That's pressure, Kemit. That's pressure right there. Kemit couldn't do that. Kemit couldn't draw that.
Every time I made him, I'm gonna hit somebody, he'll look at me and stare at me.
Hey, Bobby, they picked the right one. I would have drove it, but I'm not saying we would have got there. But I think for me, I just think that, like Bobby said about his grandparents, my dad always instilled in me a value of education. I say once you get it up here, nobody can ever take it away from you. Mm-hmm. And that just really talks to the African American experience in the sense of, we as a people value education. As a people, we went from speaking several different African languages, came over here, had to learn English under duress, and after we freed ourselves in the Civil War, then we had to, teach ourselves to read. We did that at an incredible pace. All you got to do is read W.E.B. Du Bois's Black Reconstruction. You'll see how much we as a people value education. And we see how much, white people basically oppressed us and took other things from us, from, property and everything else. So we always had to use our minds, and that could never be taken away from us. So you can trace that literally that value all the way back to Africa and our people. And so I came to Georgetown with the value of education. And even with that sense of, I got exposed to stuff at Georgetown. Obviously, it's a top flight university, so I got to work on Capitol Hill, and other things that, work on K Street, work the Wall Street Journal, and you get to expose to stuff. But for me, it was such a leap you got to make from Northeast DC to,
37th and O Street,
Capitol Hill, it's just, so that exposure was good, and it was, but still academically, there's an adjustment period. I felt like, I know by the time I got to law school to me kind of felt like a relief, because in undergrad, like Bobby was saying, man, you going to practice, you working a job. I mean, we're not working a job. We working weekends, Christmas, holidays, Merry Christmas to all, and all wall to wall. I mean, that's a real job while we going to school at the undergrad level. So when I got to law school, it was like, what? I just got to go to school? Nobody yelling at me? I don't got to go to practice. I ain't got to run no sprints. I just got to read this book. I got all this time. But I also found that, academically, we got to catch up in some ways that we don't get the academic experience. They try to support us academically at Georgetown. I'm sure it's better than a lot of other universities, no question. But the reality is, and this is not to Georgetown, but to NCAA experience, athletes are the entertainment, and they're exploited point blank. And you look at the economics of it, it's not a question of if we should have been paid. The only question is how much we should have been paid. you know. And if we can get it retroactively, I'll give you the address to send my check. Cause
Yeah. No, I'll come pick it up. I'll pick up yours too. You only have to, you don't have to mail it to me. I'm coming to get it.
Right.
I want to kind of transition into, I want to take that, Kemit, and I kind of want to go a little bit further into what you guys are up to now, or what you want to share now, because what I'd like to kind of promote and be intentional about is, the Georgetown experience while you're there, and to some of what you talked about, Kemit. It seems like you're valuable while you're there, and then once you leave, some of that, dissipates. So there should be in place, or there should be an experience that continues that Georgetown family thing. So, for instance, whatever profession you want to go into, there's somebody who graduated from Georgetown that's probably doing that. And that should be, to me, should be a pipeline source. Did you two experience any of that? And Kemit, you go second, because clearly you're holding 3 degrees. So somebody got in your ear, and I'm sure it started before you got to Georgetown. But for you, Bobby, was there a Georgetown connect, or was you just found your own way? But if you can kind of touch on that.
Yeah, I kind of found my own way, Gene, and that's kind of my personality. And I don't know, you don't know this, but Sam and Mark know, the guys always tease me about not staying in contact or not returning the calls, and I kind of regret not being connected to the university more, especially after I graduated. As far as the Black Student Union or Association or whatever they call themselves, and other different groups, alumni groups. I didn't involve myself in any of that, and probably should have. But I've always been willing to help the folks that I still stay in contact with Georgetown. I'm in the government now. I've been in the government a long time. I'm in the what we call the intelligence community, which is underrepresented by minorities. So I've tried to recruit not only folks from Georgetown, but folks from the HBCUs. As a matter of fact, I'm active in visiting the HBCU campus, trying to recruit minorities to the intelligence community, because it's mostly white males. And there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of careers in the intelligence community that our people not given the opportunity to take advantage of those. So I would be willing to assist anyone if anybody wants me to participate in trying to get our alumni, especially our ball players, opportunities in the intelligence community. I'm ready and willing to jump on board with that. But again, that was my choice.
Sure.
And I wasn't really that much I wasn't even really much in Georgetown when I was there. I didn't really join a lot of the campus life, because it was just too hard. It was, trying to do those 5 or 6 hours a day in basketball and trying to do my school work. And I didn't join a lot of clubs and stuff, but so I didn't experience it, but I have been, and I'm willing to, offer my assistance now, because I can help folks.
Well, Bobby, I know that Markham Stansbury gonna follow up with you, because Dean David Green, I said Dean, I'm acting like I'm one of his students. David Green. And Markham and some other cats, Sid Levy, they're getting the basketball alumni together. And if you want to help out the younger cats, that's something that they're definitely doing. Like Bobby said, it was, to me, the part Bobby left out, it was very clear. It was very clear. You were not on scholarship for life. You know that when you
leave here, go look back.
In fact, you might not be on scholarship past the semester. Let's be real clear about where the scholarship ends at. And when that scholarship ends, you gone. And there's no, it ain't no no bridge, no extension.
There's no stimulus check. There's no stimulus check.
Yeah, no. You know not to pick up the phone talking about I need help. or none of that kind of stuff. I mean, maybe for like, there's two things that go on. One is the public image, which the public image of Georgetown is all the players are successful, studious, and there's this loving Coach Thompson who saves the inner city Negro boys that are wayward and helps us get exposed to Georgetown.
Hey, Bobby, I should have known when he had the Kaepernick jersey on. I'm loving it.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam. Well, I'm listening, Sam.
And it's kind of like the real story, which from what I hear, I haven't read the book, but the book don't contain the real story. And I expect somebody will be writing a book to tell some of the kind of real aspects, the kind of stories that ain't been told around.
Markham Stansbury.
That's the Markham Stansbury story.
But I say that to say, you know, the basketball today, there's a real opportunity now for with your program, Gene. I know there's some younger cats that got like dog talk or something. I don't even know younger players, but you know, and people like Bobby who have this life experience, expertise, and they can help with some of the players and expose them to different fields and career paths. That's definitely needed. So, you know, that's a big change. And everybody really supports Coach Pat. I call, you know, Pat, there's only one Patrick Ewing to me, but you got to distinguish between him and his son. And, you know, when I'm talking about Pat, I'm talking about the head coach, you know, and everybody wants to see him succeed in this opportunity now that I hope he takes advantages of us to continue to see the program succeed and not, and just improve upon what Coach Thompson built, because after you graduate, it's like, you ain't on for scholarship for life. You know, I heard from him one time, and that's when they wanted me to come to the Hall of Fame induction. And, you know, so it can be improved, and I'm glad to see they're improving it. And I hope that continues, you know, and I'm sure people are working behind the scenes to make that happen and bring Georgetown basketball back up to what it is.
I was told that I was a rah-rah guy. I don't remember this, right? I don't remember being a rah-rah guy. I had Reggie and his son on, and Reggie just flat out told me, I didn't like you because you were loud. I don't remember these things, but what I do know is once I graduated, I wasn't looking back to you know, like I wasn't to Bobby's point, I wasn't active on campus. You know, because, you know, we're focused, we got a full-time job, and that's not an excuse. That's just facts, as the young people say. And where I'm going with this is, you know, pandemic hits, I'm sitting here thinking, how can I support a dude I played 3 years with? I played 3 years with Patrick. It's a no-brainer for me to want to do something, but I'm not trying to do something that is just fluff. And it's bigger than all of us. And I just think about, you know, I think about the two individuals I have on the phone or on the Zoom, and I want to know these cats. I mean, we share something together, and more importantly, we can help each other post Georgetown. So it's almost an example to the youngins that are there now, to the staff that's there now, and to the school. You know, because I don't think, even though the scholarship ends, I don't think other students aren't tapping into that Georgetown experience post Georgetown, or that Georgetown connection post Georgetown. And I think we have to be intentional about that. And, you know, so I'm glad we went down that road, because again, I don't think there's anything remotely stressful or that talking about that, like that should be talked about. And I think you two individuals have expressed that. So I'm putting in my 2 cents and my point of view on that. So we're at an hour. I'd like to wrap it up. I'd like to thank you for your time. Because again, I'm real thankful for it, because I don't know the last time you two guys talked. But I'm glad you're here. Markham just popped in, so I think my producer has something to say.
Yeah, I don't usually do this, but I really want to say about these two guys. Number one, Bobby Winston is the reason I started trying to pull everybody together, because he called me and asked me for the phone numbers of two people not only he played in Georgetown with, but in high school. And Bobby's actually absolutely right. He does not talk to many people, and I appreciate the fact that I'm one of those people. And Bobby was talking about his driving and the things he did off the court. I don't even know if Bobby remembers, but my brother came to DC for 8th grade trip, and I wanted to see him. And Bobby borrowed somebody's car and drove me 30, 45 minutes. Well, I don't even remember. It was long, and if it wasn't for Bobby Winston, that wasn't gonna happen. And after that, I mean, Bob was always good, but after that, Bob got extra Gatorade, whatever socks he wanted. I would fight Alonzo Mourning trying to get an extra wristband, but Bob could get whatever he wanted. I roomed with Kemit, one of the best roommates I had, and thank you for not sharing that story. I know exactly what story you're talking about.
Hey, Kemit,
I know exactly.
Kemit, I have your phone number. I'm calling you for that story.
It's a felony, man. It's a felony in 8 states.
But I really appreciate both of you guys coming on, and Gene says it every week about everybody comes on, but truly this is one of my favorite shows, and love to have you guys back on. Maybe we can get a St. Anthony show on with several of the guys from St. Anthony's. I think that would be a great thing to talk about. But I just really want to thank you guys for coming on, and I need you to get more involved with the Hoya Hoop alumni, Bobby.
Yeah.
So
no. Let me just follow by saying thanks, Malcolm. I've been invited several times to give interviews or statements. Mark Tillman called me one time and said the guy who was writing the book on the Princeton Georgetown game wanted to interview me, and I was like, Tillman, I'm not interested really in saying anything about Georgetown. But I only came on this show because Malcolm, that's my man, and Gene, I respect him, and I'm gonna give Gene some props. Gene, he don't know this, but back in the late 70s, early 80s, I was a youngster, Langley Junior High. Gene went to McKinley Tech. There's about 10 feet of space between Langley and McKinley Tech. It's a walkway.
Walkway, yeah.
I was a fan of Gene and his McKinley Tech teams. I went to the games back in the late 70s because, again, our schools were right beside each other. Gene, Billy Martin, Big Richard Mudd, John Battle, Jan Pennell, Chubb. Gene, if you ever give a show on DC basketball history, invite me, because I lived it. I was there in the 70s. I came to the games. When I played Dunbar, we had Anthony Jones, Sylvester Charles, Reese Morgan. I mean, I can go all down the list of Coolidge with Big Ron Moses, Darrell Webster. The best, Malcolm Stanford always talking about Memphis, but during the late 70s and early 80s, DC basketball, especially in the public school, was one of the best in the nation. So we give big respect to you, Gene.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to make sure that, you knew that I was a fan.
Thank you, sir.
Let me just jump in and echo what Bobby said. Really, Bobby, you might remember this, but when we were at St. Anthony's, or was it All Saints that year, at our basketball banquet at the end of the year, Billy Martin came and was like the keynote speaker for the basketball banquet at St. Anthony's. You remember? Yeah,
I do remember.
But Kemit, I don't mean to interrupt. Did he have his tooth fixed by then? Because he still had a crooked tooth. Because Southeast. I can't
tell because I'm starstruck, man. I'm starstruck. I'm like, that's Billy Martin. It was just bigger than life for me. And you was kind of the same way to me, Gene. And part of what I loved about Georgetown is really the way you play defense. I like to pride myself on I guard them all from Muggsy to Manute.
Mm-hmm.
I like to shut them down, and it's based a lot on what I saw you do. Really, I mean, man-to-man defense. That's what I want to play because of you. You influenced that a lot, and I know you downplay yourself as the star, but you might not have scored no points, a lot of points, but you were still a star and a personality and a lot of character on that team. You influenced a lot of people. So I appreciate that from back in the day, and I appreciate the show y'all have right now. So yeah, I just want to.
Hey, Sam, Kemit, it's good to see you, man. It's been a long time, man. And I remember you even growing up, even before we got to St. Anthony's. You came up to when you playing with Fluff Parker in there at one point.
Yeah,
man, back in teenage years. Kemit, I agree with you 100%. Your choice of Georgetown basketball-wise probably was not good for you because you had a lot of talent, man. 6'10", agile, outside game, inside game, and you probably would have had a lot better experience at other places. But a lot of cats can say that. You made the decision you made. You made the best out of it, and but I agree with you 100%. You didn't get a chance to display your talents, but a lot of kids probably say that. I mean, look at John Turner. John Turner, he didn't blossom until he got to the pros. So, right. It kind of, that system didn't fit everybody well. And it was more.
Well, Kemit should have worked with me more in the post. That's I'm gonna just tell you that.
Stansbury was the best 5'6" postman in the
history. I keep hearing this. I keep hearing about that.
5'6" postman, the best one ever in the history of the country.
Didn't he trip over the lines or something? Didn't he used to trip over the lines or something like that? Was that Stansbury?
Hey, James, I got a story for you. I'm glad you did that, Sam.
Yes.
We are in New Jersey. No, we're in Pennsylvania. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Playing Villanova. The shooter.
That was Jersey. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you're going with.
I'm going with the time you was failed. Coach asked him to go get something. So might have been some juice or water or something. Ah, boy, this fool broke his ankle, Gene. It's running down fell on the ground. Everybody's looking at him. The coach, you know how coach is. Coach is looking at him, like staring at him. Marcus on the ground, like in pain. Running around the floor. Coach said, "What the hell?"
First of all,
Gene, he had to go home, Gene. Yeah, he was injured. He was the first man who ever got injured in practice.
I'm sorry. I got tears in my eyes.
First of all,
we had to sit him home. We had to put him on the plane. Was you there, Sam?
So you had to get the structure.
That is partially true. Bobby Winston. One thing Bob left out is that he, especially in '89, winning cures everything, but also there's a lot of pressure when you we were running through people like a hot knife through butter in '89, and Winston kept us loose. He's a funny guy. He doesn't talk much, but he kept us loose. Him and Milton Bell, it was a mess. But it is not true that I broke my ankle. I did sprain my ankle. I needed crutches. That was in New Jersey. When I was running to get the balls because they were bouncing and he was talking.
A manager with crutches. Oh, he would have never lived that down.
He did not. He did not. Every time Coach Johnson had he brought up every time, Gene. Every time he had a chance.
We would have made him quit.
Yeah, when you said Philly, I thought you were going to talk about the. There was a time where I basically stripped because I was. I had the locker key. The key to the locker room. So I would leave a couple of minutes before the half was over so we could just walk into the locker room. And during the course of the game, the key fell out of my pocket. So when I get to the door to open it, I don't have the key. And I started taking my shirt off, everything. And I took my shoes off and they used to call me Shoeless Joe Jackson after that. But, yeah,
fellas, this is what the Hoya locker room is all about. And again, I can't thank you enough for your time, your energy. My biggest takeaway are two things. Malcolm Stansbury should be doing this, and there needs to be a St. Anthony's episode, including Kemit, even though you bounced to Flint Hill. There needs to be a St. Anthony episode, and hopefully you guys can make that happen.
For sure, for sure. And
Absolutely.
again, I'm glad. Thanks for inviting me, guys. I'm glad I had the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Hoya, salute. I appreciate you. And Kemit, I'm calling you for that felony story. You
All right,
gentlemen,
see you, Kemit. Good to see you, Kemit. Take it easy, man.
you gentlemen be well.
Man, I'm glad to see you doing so well, man.
All right. Thanks,
You fellas be well. All right.
Bye bye.